You got to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Don't At Me. We're the most popular YouTube channel in America right now, and you got all of your favorite people. Let's discuss hiring. We're going to get into the on the field and the conspiracy theories in a minute, but, it's kind of been a little bit under the radar, which never really happens for the Dallas Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer has been hired as the head coach, and the usual suspects, Bomani Jones, Minka Chimes, et al. Are ripping the hiring. It's easy to rip the hiring of a middle-aged white dude. They did it even before it was official. Literally, no one's ever been happy to have Brian Schottenheimer as an offensive coordinator, said all of these folk that never played, never coached, never been inside of a locker room other than to ask a question, take a little peek down low, or get a picture. All right, let's hear from the genii. That's two geniuses as they discuss the goings-on with the Dallas Cowboys.
Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Here I was thinking Jerry was afraid he was going to die and that he needed to hurry up and win a championship before it happened. And now apparently he's got like a 30-year plan.
For Jones, like there's winning, attention, and then like loyalty is maybe above winning. And the idea that he was going to go internal makes a ton of sense to me.
Literally no one's ever been happy to have Brian Schottenheimer as the offensive coordinator ever.
I don't think he's bad per se at his job. It's never ever occurred to me that he would be like a head coach.
He got a last name we recognize, and it done took this long for somebody to make him a head coach. That means that just wasn't in the cards. Is there a single other owner who would have hired Brian Schottenheimer to be their head coach? I don't think so.
The last time Mina Chimes and the DEI crowd at ESPN ripped a hire this badly was Dan Campbell. This is the guy they said, are being passed over for. Dan Campbell. Well, I got to tell you, if you put Brian Schottenheimer in the same category as Dan Campbell, guess what? The Dallas Cowboys are going to be pretty good. More importantly, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be tough. Most importantly, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be back to be interesting. It's always fascinating who poo-poos a hire. Bomani Jones has to. I mean, if Bomani Jones doesn't poo-poo a white guy getting hired, then, well, Bomani Jones ceases to be Bomani Jones. And, oh, my God, Mina Chimes, he's not bad at his job. She has to as well. That's what they do. They got to stand on DEI. See, here on this show, we stand on business. They stand on DEI. He's not bad at his job. Okay. Well, I got to tell you, they just gave Brian Schottenheimer the absolute seal of approval because those two in agreement have literally never been right. And I say that with as little respect as I possibly can give to human beings. They literally have never been right. So good for you, Jerry Jones, who, by the way, was excellent in Landman. I just saw his episode. Fantastic. Good for you, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, et al. Good for you hiring a guy that the two most woke, dumbest, ill-informed national media members don't like. Again, last one they didn't like, Dan Campbell. Now, this is a little different. This guy, Michael Irvin, played. He knows the culture. He is boys with Deion Sanders. And when Michael Irvin ain't happy, well, history says someone's going to jail. Just say it. He'll get off the charges later, but somebody's going to jail. I'm with Michael Irvin on this. Michael Irvin is pissed that Jerry Jones did not hire Deion Sanders. See, I can get down with this. This is a guy that played. This is a guy inside the organization. This is a guy who has maintained a presence inside that organization, capping, as they say, for one of his fellow teammates. And, oh, by the way, I personally am in agreement. I am with Michael Irvin that Deion Sanders should have been hired. But let me ask you this question. Let's go to the Bomani Jones question. If, using the same logic, if the Cowboys hired Deion Sanders? Would there have been another owner in the NFL that would have hired Deion Sanders? The answer obviously is no. Deion Sanders really wasn't involved in the hiring process. Now, I'm the wrong guy because I would have hired Deion Sanders. I think Deion Sanders has done a great job at Colorado. Not only has he put a really good product on the field in a very short time, remember, 2 years in and 2 years ago, that was the worst football program in Power 5 football. Now they're interesting. Now they're hip. Now they're cool. Now he seems to be a guy, assuming that what he says externally is performed internally, he seems to be a guy that is a man of character and God and making kids better academically, socially, all that stuff. So I personally, if they hired Deion Sanders, would have been a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboy okay guy. Don't care one way or the other. They're fine. But damn, Michael Irvin. When Irvin ain't happy, you know what I said? People go to jail usually. Let's hear from Michael Irvin.
We have 2 NFC East teams in the NFC Championship game being played tomorrow. 2 NFC East teams in the NFC Championship game being played tomorrow. Our eyes on them. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. Our enemies on all fronts. And they're holding a position that we haven't held in 30 fucking years. The longest drought by any NFC East team, any NFC team, period. 30 years. I did a little letter on Speak to Jerry Jones where I was delivering information in a bullshitting way, but I was not lying. You bring in someone that was already inside as the head coach. You lose things there that you can't grab back, that I'm worried about.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of shots to the head there. But he's trying to be philosophical. Here's what you simply have to say. Yo, Jerry Jones, you got America's team right here. You spent $1 zillion on a lot of different things, including a stadium that bears your name or whatever it does with his name. You're brilliant. How do you end up hiring a guy not named Deion Sanders at this particular time when your team, like Kentucky basketball, is falling into irrelevance? I'm just saying, Indiana basketball already irrelevant. Kentucky basketball falling into irrelevance. And frankly, the Dallas Cowboys, maybe it can't happen, I don't know, but they seem to be falling into the same irrelevance. And you got a chance here to liven it up. Now, here's what I hope. I hope Brian Schottenheimer becomes the next Andy Reid. I hope Brian Schottenheimer becomes the next it guy. But I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But I do like the fact that all of these folks, whether it's the DEI crowd or the hitting the head too many ex-Cowboy crowd, I do like that they're upset. Because at least we have something to talk about with the Cowboys. When Mike McCarthy was there, we didn't have nothing to talk about. He's Mike McCarthy. Fat guy wallowing around. They're mediocre. The quarterback gets hurt. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. Now, let's get to the NFL playoffs last night. The NFC and the AFC championship games. Look, I get it. I do. I get it. All right. It's going to be the Eagles versus the Chiefs. All right. A lot of people are mad about the Chiefs. A lot of people are saying it's fixed. 4th down, over the line. One referee comes in like a drunk on a Saturday night. He comes in wobbling this way. The other guy goes this way. Flag is thrown when a tight end drops a ball. Conspiracies, they say. Hey, I don't know, man. What I know is this. What I know is when you look at the Chiefs, if you bet against the Chiefs, you're a damn moron. It is literally impossible to bet against Patrick Mahomes and not feel all sliced up. Literally the first plays, these slants, these short passes, and everybody runs. I don't know what they do, but whatever it is they do, they get wide receivers and others to buy into blocking down the field. All right, here is the preview. You ready? This is the official first day of 2 weeks preview of the Super Bowl. The NFC champ Philadelphia Eagles are going to take on the AFC champ Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, this is pretty cool, are looking to be the only team other than, listen to this, the 1929 through 31, 29, 30, 31, 65, 66, 67, Green Bay Packers to three-peat. Both of those, I think you'll recognize, are in the pre-Super Bowl era. So now that we have a Super Bowl, nobody, not even Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, have won 3 in a row. This is the kind of stuff I'm digging. This is the kind of ish I like. I like dynasties. I like Michael having to try to get through Isaiah. I do. I like everybody complaining about LeBron being in another finals with Matthew Dellavedova. I do. I liked when Golden State had a run going and they get beaten, everybody's happy. I do. I liked UCLA's dynasty back 7,610 years ago in college hoops. I do. I like dynasties. It's a rematch. All right, here we go. It's a rematch of Super Bowl, whatever that is, in 2022. Chiefs came back to defeat the Eagles 38-35. Chiefs coach Andy Reid is making his 6th Super Bowl appearance, tying Don Shula for second most behind only Bill Belichick. I'm on to the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes and John Elway with the second most Super Bowl appearances as a starting quarterback. Second most too, say it with me, Tom Brady. That's right. Man, I swear to God, though, it feels like Mahomes is just getting started. This feels different than like Brady. For whatever the reason, at the end, and good for Brady, I'm not disparaging Brady at all. Brady felt like he was there decades, which he was, couple decades. Mahomes, it still feels like he's this young guy. Feels like he's this guy just kind of just getting started, and he is. I don't know, man. Brady's records are in jeopardy, and the greatest of all time, that title, the GOAT, is in jeopardy as well as Mahomes continues, assuming he stays healthy. It's truly remarkable what Patrick Mahomes has done. You could like the Chiefs. You could hate the NFL for supposedly conspiracy theorists are saying favoring rigging the game for the Chiefs, and there's a lot of that going around. Yesterday's game certainly did nothing to dispel that. But damn, you got to kind of sort of give it to Mahomes. Name me his wide receivers. Name me the Pro Bowl players on that roster. Chris Jones. I mean, seriously. This isn't like Michael and Scotty and Rodman. No, this isn't like Kobe and Shaq. No. This is like Mahomes and a bunch of really good, well-scouted players. All right, from a betting perspective, let's have a look because you know we dig that type action. Here it is. The Eagles, entered the season with 11-1 odds to win the Super Bowl, and you could have gotten $550 on a $100 bet, 5.5 to 1, to win the NFC. Obviously, they are in the Super Bowl, and they won the NFC. Somebody cashed. Underdogs, listen to this, have won 3 of the last 4 most recent Super Bowls. Dogs, 10-7 outright, 12-5 against the spread in the Super Bowl. The Eagles are 13-7 against the spread this season, including playoffs. Chiefs 8-11 against the spread. If they win the Super Bowl, they will have the worst against the spread record by a Super Bowl champ since 2021. How about that? The 2021 Rams were 10-11. Now, let me explain something to you in layman's terms. This is going to be something that you can understand, and I can understand, because all this against the spread stuff doesn't mean jack shit. It doesn't mean nothing. Let me explain something very clearly to you. If you watched both games back to back, and a lot of people did, the Eagles are the better football team. Like, the Eagles are freaking good. I mean, they dropped 55. The Eagles are getting 1.5. Having said that, I cannot, and I may not, but I might, I don't know, bet against the Chiefs. Chiefs are going to give 1.5. The over-under is 49.5. I feel that over-under is going to go up. I feel like people are going to get all over that. I kind of expected when I opened it up, because the odds on the various sites were out last night, I kind of expected the Chiefs to get points. And if the Chiefs got points, my ass was taking them. Take Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, the Chiefs, and maybe some others and the points, but they didn't. They did not. The Chiefs are 1.5 dog. I got to tell you, I ain't betting against the Chiefs, at least as of right now. You got to do a couple of things. Let me give you some betting advice on the Super Bowl. It was years back. The Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Bird, not the 28-3 Atlanta Falcons, before that. The Dirty Bird Atlanta Falcons were at the Super Bowl. The night before the Super Bowl, the man of the year in the NFL, a cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons, got arrested for soliciting a hooker. And he was in the camp. The night before the Super Bowl, the starting center for one of the teams, I can't remember, who had a drug problem, the Oakland Raiders actually, went missing. The night before. He was like an all-pro center. Missing. Super Bowl does crazy-ish to people and players. Be careful betting today. You got to wait and see. You get to New Orleans. You don't know what these maniac players are going to do. You have no idea who's going to be in the can. Hell, I got cuffed in New Orleans. That's true. And thrown in the back of a squad car. And thank God a federal judge got me out. Thank God. Life would have taken a nasty turn being in a New Orleans jail the night of the national championship game in 1987. Ugh. All right, the WNBA continues to want you to hate them. They continue to be petty. They continue to be stupid. They continue to be ignorant. They continue to be, the WNBA. And really, outside of Caitlin Clark, there's no stopping the stupid. Nobody's paid attention to that 3-on-3 league. I don't even know what it was. In fact, I was scrolling through YouTube TV at the menu, and it said 2 teams, and I'm like, what's that? And I looked it up. Who are these 2 teams? It's unrivaled. No chance we were watching that. But Dijonai Carrington is really, really smart. She's like really smart. She's smarter than you, smarter than us. She's smarter than everybody. Okay. She was some nondescript woman playing in the WNBA until she poked the eye of Caitlin Clark. And, of course, made racial stuff and all kind of stupid stuff like all the gals do. But in an effort to pull defeat right straight from the jaws of victory, the WNBA and Dijonai Carrington are trying to be unlikable. They're trying to be as unlikable as they possibly can. Dijonai Carrington. It includes she's taking a shot at Donald Trump. This time, this nasty woman wears a degrading shirt with her message crystal clear. F Donald Trump. Now, when I saw it, I thought maybe this biggin decided she literally wanted to F Donald Trump. See, people are looking at this all wrong. What my hoodie says, Dijonai Carrington says, she wants to have sex with Donald Trump. That's interesting. I can't imagine that there are a lot of 20-some-year-old women playing in the WNBA that want to have sex with Donald Trump. That's how I read that shirt. I don't know. Maybe you don't. She's got her little Gucci handbag. She's trying to be as cool as she can be. But who knew? Who knew? Some ridiculous WNBA hag wants to have sex with Donald Trump. If I'm Donald Trump, I got to tell you, I don't know what his and Melania's relationship is. But I got to tell you, I ain't screwing that one up. Hell no. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Melania Trump in the non-Lee Ross Dakich division is, I think, the most interesting, smartest, beautiful woman in the world, second only to the great and the lovely Lee Ross Dakich. So I don't know, Dijonai. I don't know. What I do know is you continue to do what the little girls, particularly of the WNBA, are doing, which is go out of your way to make a league that should be a shining light in sport into a continuation of sexist, angry, stupid, lesbian women. African-American lesbian women mostly that are angry. Keep being angry. And Donald Trump will keep doing his thing, but I don't think he's going to have sex with you. I don't. This isn't the first time, of course, Carrington has done something to get attention. Let's not forget one of her most revolting tweets ever sent. She tried to not so subtly accuse Caitlin Clark and her fans of being racist, bigoted, misogynist, and funny as all, xenophobic. Yes, Dijonai Carrington somehow managed to work in xenophobia during an attempt to attack Clark and her fans. Just bizarre. That's what these women are. I'm telling you. People said that to me. They said, you don't know the level of crazy in the WNBA. This is going back a couple years, and I didn't. Well, we've all seen it. Remember, Dijonai also poked Caitlin Clark in the eye during a game and then seemed interested in just shrugging it off. Just example after example of bad, I would say ridiculous behavior. Now she's wearing an outfit that states, F Donald Trump. Can always count on Dijonai to be predictably not classy and, in fact, just racist and stupid. I don't care who the president is. This kind of behavior is not normal and shouldn't ever be treated as normal. See, I think we're looking at it wrong. I think she wants to have sex with Donald Trump. You know, those WNBA girls, they're throwing it around. She's just aiming high. Our friend Riley Gaines, so you're telling me the same girl who deliberately gouged Caitlin Clark in the eye, then laughed about also wore a hoodie that says F Donald Trump Tour. Shocking. I mean, these are nasty women, man. Nasty. I don't think Donald Trump would do it, though. Stephen A. Smith is back in the news. Stephen A. Smith, the smartest man in the history of media. He has taken zero talent other than yelling and screaming, made himself into a media mogul, and is now extending it to political shows. Very smart by Stephen A. Smith. I admire it. Stephen A. Smith stunned the Bill Maher crowd into silence as he articulates, come on, fellas, how Democrats have no one left fighting for the American people. The American people said, we'll take the supposed felon over the woman who is telling us men can get pregnant. He ain't wrong about that, baby. Here we go. Here's Harris, Smith, and Trump. Look at them.
Here's the deal. The man was impeached twice. He was convicted on 34 felony counts. And the American people still said, he's closer to normal than what we see left. That's what they're saying. He's closer to normal. Why? Because something that pertains, when you talk about the transgender community, for example, and you're talking about the issues that pertain to less than 1% of the population, the Democratic Party came across as if that was a priority more so than the other issues. And so he comes into office. Now you're talking about childbirth, citizenship, and what have you. He knows that's not going to pass the mustard, but he knows that he made that promise. So when he shows up week one on Capitol Hill and he says, this is what we're going to do through an executive order, even though it's going to be shot down through the courts and what have you, he's saying, I kept my promise. A lot of other things that he's going to point to that he's going to try to do. I kept my promise. Then you turn around and you look at the left and you say, what promises did you keep? Now, you might know the answer to that. I'm certainly not questioning your knowledge about that at all. What I'm saying is what resonated with the voter. What voter out there can look at the Democratic Party at this moment in time and say, there's a voice for us, somebody that speaks for us, that goes up on Capitol Hill and fights the fights that we want them fighting on our behalf. They didn't do that. And that's why their behinds are home, and that man is back into the White House, and they want to sit up there and talk. You look at the networks right now, they're talking about him. Look at it. This is the latest. Look at him. Here he goes again. Well, you know what here he goes again means? He's doing what he said he was going to do. He promised you he was going to do these things, and he walked into office week one, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he's saying, y'all do something about it. And when you try to do something about it, he's going to say, look at them now. Now they're concerned about these issues. Were they talking about that during the campaign? Hell no. That's really it.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Well, look.
Here's Stephen A. Smith and Maher on the youth vote.
Here's how bad the Democrats fucked up. Trump is cool now. He's not just the most powerful guy in the world and just made himself like the richest. Mm-hmm. He's actually kind of at 78.
Yes.
I mean, rappers like him.
Yeah.
The athletes are doing, I was making fun of him jerking off two guys at one time. And now he owns it, and they're doing it. I mean, the village people are gay for Trump now.
YMCA.
He's always been a celebrity, Bill. He had
He
The
was a
Apprentice.
joke.
He had The Apprentice. He used to do movie cameos. He did wrestling.
He was a joke.
But you know what the problem with that is? He was a celebrity, but he was made to be a celebrity by a whole bunch of Democrats. Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're right. Look, they're right. They're right. I don't listen very well when Stephen A. Smith talks. I'm sorry. I think it's all a road show. And by the way, I am going to the Royal Rumble this weekend at Indianapolis, and I cannot wait. Ex-Duke Center and ESPN personality Jay Bilas has chimed in on Danny Hurley and how the national championship coach conducts himself on the sidelines, suggesting his behavior towards officials was bad for college basketball.
That's who he is. Be authentic, and he's competitive. Take Dan Hurley out. If you say that about any coach, I think it's just an excuse for bad behavior.
Yes.
It's just an excuse for bad behavior. And my thing is more about the competitive advantage that is perceived by what they call working officials or trying to influence officials. It's not just that when they cross the line once and lose their minds and get a technical and all that stuff. The referees can handle that. It's the constant berating of officials throughout a game that fans think are influencing calls. So if it influences calls, then that's a competitive advantage and we need to deal with it. If it doesn't influence calls, then it's really bad optics and people have the perception that it does, and I think we need to deal with it. Generally, I think college coaches behave poorly relative to NBA coaches. And I don't think that's a very good look. It's not a crisis. Nobody's suggesting it's a crisis. But I will tell you, I do not buy this. So TJ Otzelberger is not as passionate or competitive as Dan Hurley or some of the others.
He's coaching his own personality.
That's nonsense.
He's coaching in his own personality.
It's nonsense.
He can show his personality in ways that don't include belittling and berating
Bingo.
the referee.
I agree. Look,
Yeah, it's all bullshit. Like, Jay Bilas, okay, optics, all that stuff. Danny Hurley's personality is to do what Danny Hurley does. And if Jay Bilas wants to say it's nonsense over and over, and some little girl in the side over there wants to say it's nonsense over and over, that's great. Good for them. Neither of them have ever had their paycheck decided in a game. Neither Bilas, who was like the guy to go get Krzyzewski's water or whatever as a grad assistant 40 years ago, or Andrea Carter have ever been in the position where if you win, you keep your job. If you lose, you don't keep your job. And people can say, and Bilas does, well, it's not nonsense at all. That's who Danny Hurley is. And if you don't like it, it's not on Danny Hurley to placate fans and referees. It is on fans and referees to figure their own actions out. How do they want to respond? I think at Xavier, they started saying, F Danny Hurley. Referees need to handle it better. If it's a competitive advantage for Danny Hurley, you know what I say? Good. Keep doing it. Do it more, because the only thing you are hired to do, the only thing as a college basketball coach you are hired to do is to win. Period. You're not hired to raise great men. You're not hired for academics. You're not hired for anything other than to win. And whatever Danny Hurley is doing that you like, Jay Bilas, or don't like Jay Bilas, or some girl named Carter who's up there as the absolute worst hire in the history of ESPN, adds nothing to nothing. If you don't like it, good. Express yourself. Do all this moral stuff. We have to do. We don't. You're not in the sport, Bilas or Carter. You're not. You're not in the sport. You're an outsider. People inside the sport love what Hurley's doing. Other coaches respect what Hurley's doing. I got a text from Danny Hurley about that this weekend because I had sent him FEA. Fuck them all. That's my motto, basically, in life. And he sent me a text back, and I'm not going to share the content. I will share the broader, basically, yeah, people outside the sport don't like me. People inside do. Well, when you're a broadcaster, I've been a coach and a broadcaster. Bilas, Carter, even Seth. Now, you don't know squat. You're up there. They give you a rundown. What's your thought? So Bill is saying that's great. He's a 60-year-old man that hasn't never been a head coach. Andrea Carter's a little girl that's out there trying to make her way. You know, she calls Jimmy Patero Jimmy. I mean, she's okay, fine. But they don't know jack shit about coaching, real coaching. I mean, you got 2 kids. Your whole team's hurt. You're going to get your ass fired because you're not winning. Put that in there and see how you act. Put that in there. Danny Hurley's hired. He's hired to do one thing at UConn, win a national championship. That's it. Nothing else. And guess what? He's won 2 in a row and has a chance to win a 3rd. But some little girl and some old man don't like it? Get the hell out of here with that. Who gives a shit what those 2 think? Neither of them are in the sport. They're around the sport. And they're paid. I've been in those things. Hey, man, what are you going to talk about? I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say. You know, and Bill is saying nonsense. Now, you can say, I have hair. I have hair. I have hair. See, I'm just different, and I know Seth is too. I just don't respect people that have never coached, giving opinions like that. You have to be yourself, and if that's an excuse for Danny Hurley, fine. But if you've coached, you know that's not an excuse. That's a fact of life, coaching. You show up one day to that practice, that film session, inauthentic, one day out of 365. Players know it. Bilas doesn't know that. Carter doesn't know that. Goodman, Bilas is spot on. It's just an excuse for bad behavior. However, the PR fame of Greenberg, which has been retained by Hurley, clearly disagrees. Well, yeah, he does because he's been a head coach. Goodman hasn't been a head coach. These guys haven't had their salary. These guys aren't judged every day by players. One guy does a walk and talk. The other guy puts on a Zoom, and the other girl puts on makeup and gets up there. They don't know. Never have they done that. Not one time. And I don't care about Bilas or somebody's camp. I run a camp. Oh, shut up. I ran a camp for 25 freaking years. The other camp for 20 years. Another camp for 10. Camp. No. Danny Hurley is doing exactly what Danny Hurley should be doing. And if somebody deems it bad behavior, God bless you. 60-year-old man. Another girl that's never coached nothing. Never really was a player. Doesn't like it. Bad behavior. Okay. Big deal. Keep doing it. Win another national championship. Scream, yell, and punch an official for all I give a shit. And the haters can kiss my ass. All right, here we go. Center Yusuf Nurkic is clearly fed up with his team, the Phoenix Suns, and claimed he and Budenholzer don't have a relationship and haven't spoken in 2 months. The NBA is a mess, man. The NBA is a train wreck. We don't have a relationship, so it's fine. For me, just be a pro, do the best I can, work and stay ready for whatever might be. But there's no chaos or bringing that to this team. They already have plenty of it. Trying to be professional as I can, work my ass off for something else. Here's Budenholzer. Man, coaching the NBA would be fun, huh? Here's Budenholzer. Wow.
One of the things before the game, talking with Nurkic, and he was talking about your relationship with him, so he doesn't think you guys have one. Said you guys hadn't talked in like a couple months. Maybe where are you seeing it with Nurkic in terms of your relationship with him right now?
It's never easy in this league. He hasn't played. I'm sure he's frustrated, so I respect that.
Coach, has there been conversation with him about it, or is it just kind of one of those things where you wait and see if the opportunity presents itself for him to get on the court again?
There's been conversations that have been had. There's been communication, but we got 3 or 4 guys that play the same position. We're going to go with who we think gives us our best chance. You got to earn your minutes, and that's been communicated.
And so far in the locker room.
Man, is there anything less interesting than listening to idiot reporters question a coach about some nondescript player and his relationship with that player? I think I fell asleep. Actually, I was watching Michael Jordan highlights on here. So a nondescript player whose best, I guess, most interesting thing is getting in feuds with Draymond Green on a dysfunctional NBA team full of clowns. And before the game, that's the report. That's ridiculous.